Hi, welcome everyone to our webinar today with one of our great partners, West Marine. We're going to be discussing how we managed to get them back into the inboxes. Let me introduce our two speakers for the day. We've got Matthew Vernhout, who has been our principal deliverability expert at Email Industries. And we've got Jill Feldman from West Marine, who has been part of email and CRM for over 14 years and is the senior CRM manager at West Marine. So I am going to hand it over to the lovely two speakers.
Right on. Thanks, Priya. So just to sort of set the stage as to sort of when we started working with the team over at West Marine, there was some challenges that sort of said, hey, we need some help. So, there was just ongoing deliverability challenges, getting to the inbox, placement was getting poor, reputation had slipped a little bit, and, just some of the negative metrics that impact delivery were a little more abundant than they really should have. So, we wanted to focus when we started the program working together, and it's actually been almost 2 years that we've been working together. But, we wanted to target open rates. We wanted to reduce the number of negative impacts from spam traps. We wanted to fix inbox placement and really, due to a concentration of users at domains like Outlook and Yahoo, we wanted to make sure that we address those specific needs and sort of the peculiar, factors that go into making delivery at specifically Outlook something that we could easily address as we move forward with future challenges and future delivery. So what did we do? As high level, we're going to go into this a little more in sort of the rest of this, but we really looked at targeting, hygiene, data, and we implemented the Alfred email hygiene service to look at the content, or sorry, look at the list and the makeup of the list, potentially any threats that were part of that list. We did a complete overhaul of authentication. That was starting right from, re-looking at how their SPF DKIM DMARC was set up. And as part of that project, we moved into implementing BIMI with the team at West Marine. And then we really looked into some of the strategy behind sending, frequency, targeting, segmentation, and the different pieces of who do we want to talk to on a regular basis. So what did we do? We went through and we reset everything. We relaunched with a new warm-up campaign to really sort of reintroduce the brand. We emphasized strongly segmentation, contact frequency, as well as incremental sending volumes around holidays, because that is certainly something that all retailers look for during the holiday season. And then really continuing to massage and build those segments over the last 2 years to maximize reach and minimize potential for reputational impacts. So, Jill, I'm going to give you some time here now to talk about all the other sort of creative things that we've changed along the way as well.
Perfect. So I've put some examples up on the right. So where we were about a year and a half to 2 years ago to where we have moved over to now. Previously, we were just doing all image-based creative, which, as we know, is not necessarily the best for inbox placement. We do try and stick to that like 70-30 rule or 60-40 if we're really lucky. We are trying to incorporate more live text. We've also noted that this really helps our deliverability, specifically at West Marine during peak season. We know that a lot of our customers are out on the water having fun and they might need some replacements for their boats for safety or want some water sports for them. And so during those times, we actually flip-flop our live text to image ratio and we increase it. And we have seen really great success in deliverability and open rates and click-through rates on being mindful of not only live text during all year, but during peak season as well. So this has also helped us have more consistent branding, which our new creative director has really helped with as well. It's a great partnership that we have. He loves to see the results of our testing. Then we've also set up a new preference center. So what we do have is opt-down frequencies, which we did not have previously. So we offer customers once a month and once a week reach outs. We've also changed the way that our customers actually engaged and are scored as Matt was saying, we did install or integrate with Alfred, which we have tested into exactly which score on the 1 through 10 really works for us with Alfred. That was by process of elimination, seeing which if we were getting an increase in spam complaints. So that was a slow process, but a really successful process for us, especially with our loyalty program, because we do have customers who have been with us for so long at West Marine. Some of the impacts that we were seeing within Alfred were saying that our customers were out of date, or if they weren't valid, how could we run a whole update with our system with POS to really update some of those email addresses or be able to test into mailing them and ensure that our loyalty customers, who are obviously our most valuable customers, are really getting all of the communications that they should be. And then for monitoring purposes, we are using Postmaster tools along with Validity to really check and make sure that we are pacing where we're supposed to be. And we've seen a great deal of improvement for different ratings that we've seen. We've gone from a D to a B, which is really exciting and great progress for us. We've also made sure that we put in on our different segmentations limits of how many times someone can go through the reactivation campaign or lapsed campaign. We don't want them to just circle in there and keep hitting the same spam traps over and over again. It's now one and done with different touch points along the way. And as I mentioned before, the improved inbox placement and engagement, about 45% of our list is Gmail currently. So we currently have 98.2% Gmail placement, whereas I don't want to say the numbers were reversed before, but it was much less favorable for us. So we are very happy that we are now able to hit our customers' inbox. And we do feel that, I'll talk more about the BIMI on the next slide, however, that was impactful for us. We've had fewer complaints from our customers. We have a stronger sender score reputation. And overall, we've seen an increase in our open rates on average about 17%. And our click-through rate has gone up 30%. We really attribute this not only to the different segmentation, but also that live text ratio, and conversion rate has increased by about 15%. So as you can see on the right, this is our BIMI from Gmail. So this was a long process working with our IT team. We had lots of calls, lots of making sure is everything right, proper authentication, going back and forth. There are video calls where you need to scan your license to make sure that everything is working and you are who you say you are. So this was a lengthier process, but definitely worth it in the end. We did see a slight positive impact from it. And as Matt was saying before, or at least in our conversations, as long as there is no impact is positive and a slight positive is really great for us to see. So that's really exciting. So our ongoing efforts, we keep monitoring deliverability on a daily basis. Our segmentation is always adjusting. We actually just launched I would say probably phase 5 in the past year of segmentation, but really breaking out, catching all of those like fall off identified points within our CRM database with loyalty customers, with non-members, trying to increase the conversion to our loyalty program, as well as making sure that our customers are comfortable with the cadence that we're emailing them. And with the content adjustments for the live text, really being able to identify when during peak seasons and aligning with the creative team. I feel like it's all a big process, not just working with email industries, but also working with the creative team, with the IT team, really engaging the whole marketing team as a whole to ensure that everyone is aligned and understands why these changes need to take place and what the positive results can be. And our team has seen that over the past 2 years, which is really exciting.
I love that you said that like segmentation is like stage 5, right? It's just kind of proof that it's not a one and done. It's not just set it, forget it. It's a continuous evolution. And I know some of the things you have planned based on our conversations that we're not going to disclose right now, but there's some really interesting sort of upcoming changes that you're making to sort of clean up your legacy data. As you were saying, like some of your clients have been around for a very long time.
Mhm.
So, we've seen active clients that no longer use the email address on file and working to find ways to update those emails and keep them informed. So I think there's some great lessons around, you know, 2 years ago when we started working together, we did a lot of stuff, and now we're sort of phase five, and you've identified way more things than I think we even thought about at the beginning, and sort of, check those boxes and continued to evolve the program. And I think it's a great thing. And, the stats you showed a few slides ago represent that, right?
Yes.
Improve clicks, improve conversions. Those are all the things that e-commerce companies want. And I think you guys have done a great job with that. And I'm really impressed with your program.
Thanks. Yeah, it's all due to our partnership. So,
Oh,
teamwork
well,
is key.
absolutely, absolutely. Priya, did we get any questions that you wanted to ask us?
There were a few questions, yes. So I'm gonna ask it to both of you, and so please feel free to discuss amongst yourselves as to who's going to answer it. But I think there was one question where I wanted to go a little bit more into detail about the segmentation side of things that you did at West Marine. How how did you accomplish this, and at what point was it a right, we've got it moment?
This is a very interesting approach that we had from our data team. We had to ensure that since we have data feeding from all different platforms, that everything was cohesive at first. So our loyalty data feeding into Salesforce, which is our ESP, then working with our data and BI team to ensure that everything was aligned, doing different cross reference and checks, and then slowly looking at all of the click through, the engagement, the site visit, the triggered emails that were going out based upon the actions, and really look at the whole customer life cycle to help apply that into the different areas for all the segments that we use. For instance, we have segments that are called highly engaged, moderately engaged, and low engagement along before they go into the lapsed. So, what is the right form of communications and really trying and identifying where customers were falling off along those lines helped us mold what those segments were, and then doing testing not only on the creative but on timing really helped us identify and have all these different iterations.
Matt, do you want to add anything from email industry side?
I mean, part of what was going on as we were looking initially into the segmentations and coming up with, in partnership, the idea of like, what does highly engaged mean? What does moderately engaged mean? What does low engaged? When do you trigger a win back campaign? You know, there's some standard stuff that we always start with as a baseline as part of that conversation. And then all of those things get tailored. I guess that would be sort of phase one, as we said, here's our baseline. Let's start here. And then from there, the West Marine team has really sort of evolved. Like they're now like stage five in segmentation. That's way beyond sort of where we started because I think once you get that train moving, you learn and you adapt and you say, oh, there's a fall off point here. We need to do something here. There's another point here where consumers stop engaging. We need to look at things. And I'm like, I think it's great. I almost feel like we kind of did a bit of like teaching and then now we're learning back, right? Because then we can take some of the things that the West Marine team is educating us on and use that as future education as well as we continue to work with clients. So deliverability is a constant need for education in both directions. So we learn and adapt how things work, and then we use that to help educate clients as they need to learn and adapt. And no two paths are the same. So I think it's always great to have a framework to start and then adapt accordingly.
I love that answer. Okay, next question was more on the sort of creative side of things. So I think this will be primarily with Jill. But what did you find that had the most impact with the creative changes that you had made and the different evolutions of the changes?
I would say one is adjusting our full template for dark mode. really working with our creative director to have them understand exactly how everything would appear following ADA compliance, since our customer age does skew on the more mature side, along with really emphasizing the benefits of live text and showing those results from the A/B test and the conversion increase. That when our customers are looking for a life jacket or an emergency beacon, all of these different products are really essential. And while we always want to make it fun and exciting and pretty, sometimes we just need to show the exact product and make sure that we're getting them in there. And that was really eye-opening to see for everyone on the team and showing those results that we saw.
I have to say, I really like the evolution and even some of the most recent campaigns you've sent with some of the new imagery. I mean, you guys have really evolved over the last 2 years. I think it's fantastic, and the metrics prove it. So
Mhm.
it's fantastic.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a Binny related question. So, did you experience any changes with your behaviors with your subscribers? So, the subscriber behaviors post Binny.
Post BIMI, we saw some increased deliverability placement, along with a slight rise in open rates during that time frame right after, during the warm up, when we were all making sure that everything was going live. And since then, so it is something that we do recommend putting in place because it was quite helpful for us.
And did you feel like the brand was more sticky with your client base post Bibby?
I would say slightly. It is a little hard to give like exact metrics or numbers to
Yeah.
say, but we did receive some customer service feedback that they noticed it. Also, when you get the executive leadership team saying, "Oh, I see you made some changes. I see a logo now." That is always nice to hear as well.
The
Absolutely.
non-tangible impacts that are the good ones there, right?
Yes.
The executive recognition is always good for the marketing team.
Yes.
Agreed. Okay, then going on to your Alfred implementation or integration, rather. I know you talked about the fact that you went through a process when it came to the scoring and how then you segmented and who you sent to. What were, apart from obviously the complaints that you got or opening and clicks, what was it that drove your reasoning behind what scores you were sending to and what scores you were not sending to?
It was based off of customer service feedback and off of internal feedback, once again, from the executive leadership team in their personal emails. Who was receiving certain emails? Why weren't they getting them? How were they being scored? Or some of our sales reps and store employees. Just making sure that we were very connected with that customer feedback loop that we have internally to ensure then saying, okay, we're looking at sales, we've scaled back X amount. What happens if we try and test into a 4 catch-all instead of just having 5 being the cutoff? And what was the impact? So just actually taking that time to separate out the segment so we could fully read the results and the spam placement, the deliverability, ensuring that the subject lines were also slightly different so we could really read the full data. Just punctuation at the end really makes a difference. That is what helped us really make that determination through different testing that we performed.
I think the other piece that I remember is when you're doing win back, you're checking those addresses again before you start win back to make sure that the addresses are still valid, the addresses are still active, and then applying those scores again because like scores continuously update, right?
Yes.
Within Alfred as well.
Yeah, that was very helpful for us, putting that into the win back.
Okay. And then one last final question. As you said, Jill, you guys have a loyalty scheme. So you've got members, and I'm assuming you've got some sort of membership awards and stuff. How has that sort of panned out post everything that you've been working on to improve opens and clicks and engagement overall?
We have a lot more dynamic content now. that we're able to put in and house within our email. So gold members will see either different offers or different CTAs with different linking strategies for gold versus silver versus non-member, along with trying to really change the membership structure that we have. We've got some big exciting things coming up with our loyalty program. So it's exciting to see and all the different iterations that we've had so far. But the dynamic content and the different segmentation breakouts have really helped us, along with ensuring that we have improved inbox placement and deliverability from our West Advantage Rewards program, not just West Marine.
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to add, Jill, just over the course of this partnership, and any learnings that you specifically have taken away?
I think just test, and retest. And even if you are thinking that your customers are going to respond one way, I know that I've personally worked with brands such as like children's clothing brands, teenage prom dress brands, into the bridal sector, then into like men's business wear, and now really into the boat and rec segment, is you really need to, even though your gut and instinct may say that your customer may respond this way, don't just take it for a fact. Make sure that you take the time and run that extra test to see how they respond, and it'll always be worth it in the end.
Okay. Matt, anything that you want to add for the learnings that you've seen while working with working with West Marine?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. One, I think part of the experience has sort of, at least from my point of view, brought sort of the IT and marketing teams and the business intelligence teams at West Marine to a little tighter together. They work together better. Like I remember 2 years ago, it was like pulling teeth to get someone to make a DNS change for us. And now it's like there's education and understanding as to why those types of things need to happen. So it's really become a collaboration. And I think there's some really great opportunities for internal teams to work a little closer together, and just the experience that we have helped do that with education, with documentation. These types of results are always the ones I love to share, right? It's been an amazing collaboration over the years in regards to getting the program where it's at. And I've been really great because you guys have had a lot of change over 2 years as well. So it's been great to see that evolution continue, and hopefully, continue for quite some time in the future, because you guys have been really strengthening that program. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. Yes, we're really excited, and we appreciate all the help that email industries and you guys have given us.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I think those were the end of the questions. And as we close out, I want to thank Jill and West Marine for just being amazing partners of ours. Not only have we learned a lot from you, but I hope that you guys have learned a lot from us and will continue to do so for both sides. We have all of our contact details up on the slides right now. And so at any point, if any of this resonated with you, reach out. We will happily help in any way that we can. And if you would also like to ask any specific questions, you can go directly to Matt. Thank you so much, Jill. Thank you so much, Matt. And have a good day.
Right. Thank you.